Oh, hello.
Alright, we're back at a different rental. We're actually, this one, we're having heat and air issues. So we're trying to figure that out. Dirty South Motorsports, one of my renters races dirt track. Shout out to that guy. But yeah, we've been having trouble out of their heat and air for a while now. And so we're worms inside. Logan's out of the house. We're trying to figure this thing out. We're having to change the thermostat wire, and it's a muddy mess. So this wire's replacing the other one. This one, it's got some breaks in it, so we're just going to change it. So that's what we're working on. Another rental, another day of dealing with rentals. And Logan is somewhere in that space under there. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so here we are on the inside.
Oh, he's doing that again.
Yep. Mr. Worm.
That's not me.
He's going to splice this wire together.
I'm Gaylord P. Harkin, 4th to 3rd.
And he's going to pull it up to the thermostat. So that's what we're working on.
Into a little tiny hole that you can't see. Been there before. La-dee-dee, la-dee-da.
So that's what we're doing now.
Oh, I didn't spit on it.
This guy.
This guy. Don't want to mess it up on it. Oops.
Did you get it pulled up to the bottom?
Go to the, oh, hey, that works.
Little more.
He pulled some back. Oops. Mexican. Oh, I didn't see that right, did I?
That's plenty. Shoot. So yeah, we gotta hook that to that and pull that up to there, to that, and then that'll be that.
Hey, somebody got upset, couldn't replace the air filter right.
I see that. It's like, heck with it. Wow. So, alright, that's what we're working on.
Well, the violence.
And something about the violets.
Where's the love?
So, alright, here we go.
Let's take a look under the hood. Almost there, Twink. Couple more tweaks.
cam seal or a crank seal, or I actually think it's the VTEC, but it's slinging oil. So I think it's actually going to be on the VVTi solenoid. I don't know if I said VTEC, but there it is. It runs. It still has to be tuned. So one last thing, I was dealing with the tuner from ECU Masters. I've got to get a timing light and get this thing shot and get him back on the phone. But it got to where it wouldn't run. And I was like, come on man, it ran fine and I called you and now it won't run. Well, in his defense, it run out of gas, but it's still showing a little pressure. So he was fighting with it and it showed pressure, showed fuel pressure, but it was out. It's still showing fuel pressure. But so I changed a ton of things. I went through a ton of things. It just wouldn't crank. I finally put fuel in it, didn't change anything. So I took that fuel out, put fresh fuel in it, didn't change anything. Went through all the throttle body, took it all back apart because we had changed something in the throttle body for the actual piece, and maybe I knocked something loose or done something wrong. Done that, put it all back together, nothing. And finally, I got to looking at the, it was rich as crap for a little while. So I decided to pull the spark plugs because we were trying to crank it over and it was out of fuel. So maybe it was still getting some fuel down the cylinders or something. I don't know. I just had a thought in my head. So I pulled the plugs. They are all soaked. And what I think it ended up being, we were getting a little fuel, not enough to crank it. But as it got weaker, we didn't have enough cool voltage to fire off what fuel was in it. So we had killed the battery a time or two and we just didn't have enough voltage to kill it or to crank it. Well, by the time we did, we tried to jump it, we had already soaked the plugs. And so all 6 of the spark plugs are fuel soaked. They're all just wet and black and sooty. So yeah, definitely was the reason we'd fouled all 6 plugs. So yeah, that's the fix. I changed the plugs. Actually, I put a little bit colder plug in, so if I decide to boost it, they're right. I didn't close the gap on them, but it is a colder plug. So I'll have to pull it and close the gap if I decide to boost it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I gotta figure out a throttle body. If I get a throttle, or not a throttle body, a throttle cable. If I can get a throttle cable on it, I can at least move it in and out. To move something else in or work on something else, to just at least get it out of my way until it's tuned, which is what's going on with the IS300. It's just hanging out until it gets tuned. So that'll be 2 that are just hanging out till they get tuned. That's where I'm at with them. So yeah, I think I'm pretty much going to wrap up whatever I can on this, get a timing light, call that guy back, and we're going to go from there. But I have to have a timing light. I have to have a timing light to get this thing zeroed in. And I think that's pretty much where I'm at with it. So either way, alright, here we go. So when I tell you all 6 of the spark plugs were fouled, all 6 of the spark plugs were fouled. So all 6 of them jewels was fouled. So I wasn't kidding. Yeah, that's what we had. That's the problem.
That's why she spit.
So now it runs again. so I decided if I'm gonna have to tune that 240, I'm going all in. Heck with it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the intake. I've got a turbo coming. I went ahead and ordered some injectors. I think they're the right ones for this intake. It is what it is. I got all the stuff. Let's do it. Might as well. Decisions are made. We're gonna start pulling this thing apart. And there's my wideband. Heck with it. So, whatever. It is what it is. So, all right, here we go.
I'm feeling high.